Starting. Greetings from Storybrooke. This is the land where we sweat like our life depends on it. So come on, my cycling monkeys, grab onto your bikes and fly. We also talk about ABC's hit series Once Upon a Time. Oh God, Elizabeth, it's great to have you guys have you back. How you guys doing?
I'm doing excellent, although I am starting to get a cold.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's my aunt's fault.
This time of year I kind of keep a cold, and now I'm doing irrigation, so I work constantly in water. I mean, I'm in Florida, so it's not like I'm in the freezing cold, but it's still pretty chilly, especially for considering I'm stuck in 90-degree weather most of the time. So I feel you with the whole cold thing. I hope you feel better. But it's great to have you back. And Tony, how are you doing this week?
I'm okay. Unlike some people over here getting sick, I'm coming down from the stomach flu. Thank God. I'm feeling much better though.
That's good. That's good. I am glad to hear that. Unfortunately, Monica is not with us tonight. We assume that she fell into a sleeping curse and just couldn't get herself up in time. That has happened before. But whatever happened, I hope she's all right. And Monica, if you wake up in the meantime, just pop in. It's not like she heard that anyway, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, okay, so this is what, the mid-season finale.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad, Elizabeth, it's been a while, but I'm really glad that you could join us. And in Monica's stead, she did write this week's writing summary, but in her stead, why don't you go ahead and read her rhyming summary for us this week.
Season 7, Episode 10. Drizella can't cast the curse in stone. Will it be her mother figure crone? Ronnie looks for her sister. Will this reveal be a twister? Henry goes to chop a magical tree and hopes to save his daughter Lucy. I don't know where that came from. Sorry, Lucy.
You're good.
Henry reads to Lucy, and his logic he will ditch if it helps who he hopes is his daughter. In this week's episode, the Eighth Witch.
Eighth Witch. Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Monica, for that rhyme. Okay, so that gives us a little brief summary this week's episode. But before we actually really get into the meat of this week's episode, like we mentioned, Elizabeth, you've been out for the past few weeks, and
I have been under a curse, and the curse has finally been lifted, right, and now I can join you again, and I'm so happy.
But most importantly, we want to hear what you thought if you got a chance to watch the past few episodes, and if you had any questions or concerns about the goings-on in those episodes.
Oh man, I'm gonna narrow it down to 3 basic bullet points. Well, not basic, but 3 bullet points that I've thought of. Okay, so the first one is everybody was right. Alice is Hook's daughter. I was wrong. I called it wrong. I admit it. So that's the first. That was the first point. But y'all were right. I was wrong. Huh?
Did you have a guess at that point on that?
I think I had some. I don't even remember what my guess was. I don't remember. I just really didn't think it was Alice because I thought that was too obvious.
Too obvious, yeah, I hear you.
So, okay, this is my second point. And I wish Monica was here because I think she'd really laugh at this one. But okay, so a month ago, before Thanksgiving, was a double episode. And I loved it. But, okay, my comment involves Mother Gothel and Hook hooking up. And it's what happened afterwards, because it was like, you know, she did not have to go through 9 months of pregnancy. She didn't have to give birth. It was instant baby. And I was like, sign me up. Sign me up for instant baby. No, no 9 months of pregnancy. No horrible labor. Granted, I have no children yet, but I have to go through that someday.
Granted,
And I'm just
exactly
thinking,
what happened.
What?
Well, you said no horrible labor. I feel like something had to have happened off screen.
No, because I see the scene, and she just wakes up, and then Hook is there, and Hook is like, here's this baby cry, and he's like, wait, that's not possible, and it's this magic instant baby, and I'm like, holy crap, sign me up for that. I want an instant baby too. So it was hilarious to me, and it made no logical sense, but you have to throw logic out the window sometimes.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest comment that I've been sitting on for a month.
Okay.
And then the last thing I want to talk about is, I don't remember if this was the last, or I don't remember when this episode aired. It was probably the last episode. The relationship between Drizella and her mother, who turns out to be Rapunzel. Wasn't prepared for that twist, but I don't care about that. My biggest issue with that episode was I came away with it not having felt like they explained anything, because Drizella was 4 when Rapunzel disappeared. She comes back in her life 6 years later. She's been raised by Ella's mother, so she has more of a connection with Ella's mother. I get all that. What doesn't make sense to me is, when did Drizella become a bitter little child that wants mom's attention? Because in this episode, she doesn't want her mother's attention. She really doesn't want anything to do with her mother.
Okay.
And Rapunzel is trying to get Drizella's attention, trying to form a bond with her, and it's just not happening. Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, here's how I feel about Drizella. Okay. Her mother figure kept getting ripped from her life. First it was Rapunzel, before she even was really, of course she formed a bond with her. I mean, even if you don't remember that bond, you still, spent 4 years with her as your mother. And so even deep down, that's your mother, and even though you may not remember it, there's still that there. Then you finally, your father finds someone else who treats you great. You build a bond, 6 years or more you spend with that person, and it's great. And then that bond is ripped away, and for whatever reason. And then your mother figure is in your life, and I'm sure at that point, even though we don't see it, I'm sure at that point Drizella is still trying to be, is now trying to cling on to whatever mother figure she has at that point, which is Rapunzel Tremaine. But she is constantly pushed away because of what happened, after feeling pushed away by her daughter. She then never really gave Drizella a chance, because I've definitely seen even moments with I forget the actresses, the grown-up Ivy / Drizella. You definitely see moments where she's, even though she's fighting against her mother and against her sister, there are definitely times where you feel that she is desperate for her mother's attention.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there was just that window that closed, that like Drizella kept pushing her mother away, and that made her mother push her away. And then when Drizella finally tried to open up to her mother was never there to receive it.
Yeah, I guess, but that stuff didn't take place in the episode, so
I understand what you're saying. And then from there, that's why she's latched on to Mother Gothel, because
which was a really bad decision.
Well, obviously after this week's episode,
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
wait, one more, a fourth point. Sorry, I
Okay,
thought of a fourth point.
This is why I asked you to bring up anything yet.
Okay, same episode. When Marcus goes into the ice to save the girls, and he only saves Ella, and Rapunzel's like, "Where's our daughter?" And he's like, "I could only rescue one." I don't understand. Like, did he not see Anastasia, or did he just make a choice to choose one daughter over the other? Because I didn't understand that, and I'm thinking, as a parent, how could you choose? Like, get them both.
I'm sure there. I kind of feel like there probably was. I mean, like you said, it really wasn't all that clear, but I kind of feel like it was more than likely the scenario where he just wasn't able to save the other one. It wasn't like they were standing next to each other and he could reach. He only had one arm free and they were both standing there or floating there. I mean, I don't think it was actually that. Like actually, like he had to choose one. I feel like it was just kind of like if he swam right, he went to this one. If he swam left, he went to this one. And by the time he grabbed the one to the right, thinking, I'm sure, I'll swim to the left. And then by then it was too late, whatever. I don't really think it was a conscious decision of like, oh, I'm going to save Ella.
But then if he couldn't get to her, how did Anastasia get out of the water? Because her mother, Rapunzel, was dry.
Yeah.
She was not wet.
That's definitely a hole that they kind of, maybe that's why Marcus died. She was just like, yo, you're going back and getting her. And Marcus went back and I know.
Do we know Marcus is dead?
Yes, we do, because Ella talks about her stepfather, the only father she really knew, being dead.
Are we sure that's her stepfather, not her actual biological father?
Yeah, because she says this is, my stepdaughter, Ella. And Rapunzel's like, stepdaughter? What do you mean stepdaughter?
No, I know. I remember that. I just, because I'm trying to think, back in that, the first episode of the season. It was, she was trying to kill that prince and for her father, but it was never said stepfather. It was just said father, which I guess doesn't matter, step or not.
Yeah, a lot of times when if you're raised in a good way by your stepfather and you don't have a good relationship or never really knew of your father, because we never really did know of her father, like it's never really spoke of, I do remember her saying that, about her stepfather being the only father she ever really, the only man that she knew that raised her,
Yeah.
I still want to see how he actually died. I mean,
yeah, they never actually go into that. There's so many things little things. Well, I kind of feel like that's not all that little, but there's definitely a lot of other things that like kind of just, I feel like got brushed aside.
Or either we can just imagine how he passed away. I mean,
right, exactly, and I feel like that's probably how we're going to have to, because I almost feel like it's not going to be addressed again. I feel like, with this, I feel like a lot of things happen in this mid-season finale to bring a lot of what's happened so far to a close, and then bring new questions to light, which is what will drive the second half of the season. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Why don't we go ahead and let me switch over to our notes, and we will get over in just before I move on. Elizabeth, was there anything you did want to add? Is there anything
about I'm good.
Okay. Didn't want to step
I bring this Elizabeth time to a close.
Okay.
That's being silly.
Huh? Or I wish you had a gavel or something, session, so whatever.
That'd be funny.
All right. So let's move on to this week's episode. Welcome back, Liz.
Thank you.
All right. So as Lucy is rushed to the hospital, her mother by her side, we flash back to Henry introducing his friends to baby Lucy. The joy is short-lived when Drizella comes to deliver a prophecy. A dark curse will fall on Lucy's 8th birthday, but the heroes are ready. With a little help from Tremaine, they trap Drizella with blood magic and add a statue to their courtyard. 8 years later, everyone gathers to celebrate Lucy's birthday when the festivities are interrupted by Mother Gothel and her coven. She has come to help fulfill the prophecy. Her and the coven free Gisela from her stone prison and vanish. In Seattle, Sabine attempts to comfort Jacinda, while elsewhere, Belfry looks after Anastasia, who seems to be doing just fine adjusting. Weaver shows up to comfort her, to confront her about what this has done to Lucy. That's not all. Gothel says Anastasia is the guardian, and Weaver has come to see if that's true. If she is, she actually may be able to. She may be the only one able to help Lucy. In San Francisco, Henry misses a call from Jacinda and is worried when she doesn't answer. Ronnie assures her that Jacinda can take care of herself and hands him some sweats. With that, it's off to spin class to meet Ronnie's friend Kelly, who looks an awful lot like a witch we once knew. All right. I guess my only note really for this first half, really, first of all, our first act rather. I loved Zelina's introduction. It's really great to have Rebecca Mader back. I've always liked her on the show. The prophecy Drizella, that whole scene where she was like on your daughter's 8th birthday felt an awful lot like Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, it did. I thought of that.
But anyway, I really think it's
her birthday. She shall pick her finger.
Right, yeah. It like even the way Drizella was like hamming it up when she said it, it was just all it felt very reminiscent of that scene, But Elizabeth, what else did you have to add to this first act?
I feel like I must have been away too long because I missed the part where Henry and Ella fell in love and got married. Or did it just go from the first kiss to a daughter? Because I'm like, because I like since the beginning of the season, I've been wanting to see them fall in love and hear their story together. And it just goes from last time I saw them romantically entwined, it was a first kiss, and now there's a daughter, and I'm like, what?
It does.
That's a big time jump.
Well, I don't even think it's a time jump. I just feel like they kind of rushed. I almost feel like it's what they had to do for the writers to fit in their timeline. You know what I'm saying? For like, like, oh, well, for all of this to have had happened, then, he must have hooked up with Jacinda or Ella rather quickly. And then that must have led to Lucy rather quickly as well. But let's not even, we'll be getting into timelines in the next act, I believe. Yeah.
Well, that and also I was going to comment that Tremaine is there to help stop the curse, and I just felt like she just showed up out of nowhere. She was like off camera, then on camera. It was like
there was a lot of that.
It was really weird because it was hard to picture her joining the heroes just to stop her daughter. Like it just seemed out of place.
Well, okay. Okay.
She might have only
this
been
is
there.
The problem. This is the problem I have with Tremaine. Okay, and I read an article where they were like talking about how they thought they did such a great job because, like, and for the most part they did, I guess. Of course, from the beginning of the season, they set up Tremaine Belfry to be like the big bad of the season. But then you get the carpet pulled out from under you when you realize that no, Drizella has been pulling the strings this whole time. That Belfry Tremaine was never in charge, never the big bad, and so it almost makes it seem like we're supposed to like no longer like be mad at her, but she still did the thing she did. She still did. She still treated Drizella the way she treated Drizella / Ivy. She still did what she did to Lucy. Lucy's still in a coma because of her. Now, I know that has no bearing on the scene you were just talking about, but I'm just talking about with us as viewers, how we're supposed to feel towards Tremaine. I feel like, with that scene that you mentioned and a few others, that they're supposed to be like, see, she's not the bad guy. But then it's like, yeah, okay, she's not the bad guy. She didn't like cast the curse, but I wouldn't necessarily say she's a good guy.
She was not the good guy at all.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe she could be redeemed.
So
I
Redeemed.
don't want her to be
I don't
redeemed.
know.
right, and I feel like they're already trying to put her on that path, and like not
Especially with the
even
Rapunzel story.
right. And I feel like this not only that I don't even feel like they're trying to put her on that path. I feel like they're trying to be like, she wasn't so bad to begin with. See, she didn't, But like I said, the things she did do still,
It's bad, and
yeah. I mean, she still did what she did to Cecilia. Regardless of why or if it didn't kill her or whatever, she did what she did to Cecilia. She did, like she's a bad person, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think that they can just take two steps back and try to like correct all of that. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do.
I mean, if they
Yeah.
that'll be in too much short of a time, and it'll be their quickest redeemed character yet.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand. I can understand the switcheroo they made, where it's like Drizella making her think that she was in charge this whole time. I I like that, that twist, but I still don't think that that should mean that we just all of a sudden feel sorry for Tremaine for what happened to her.
Too true.
Tony, did you have anything else to add?
I did. So I've been waiting for two people to come back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Liz
Oh,
and Zelina.
I
right,
miss
right.
you too.
And you got both of them in the same week,
Yes, in the same week.
right?
Mwah.
So, but I really, and I mean, like, I know that we had already said that we liked the beginning and everything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I first saw it, for the sneak peek. I'm always up for watching the sneak peeks, and the opening was hysterical. Like, I think it was very, very, very hysterical. The As for the prophecy and everything like that, I also agree with it being so, Sleeping Beauty-ish. I mean, I guess they got to, they have to take their inspiration from some places, I guess.
Right.
But I mean, like, also as well too, I feel like their relationship has been in motion for these past 10 episodes now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, as for Lucy coming in, like, saying, "Okay, great, we finally made out, we hooked up. Hey guys, let me just introduce you to my daughter. Yay!" Ooh. I mean, I guess it was a little bit too quickly for me too as well. But hey, I guess you got to fit in 10 episodes into a little bit of a background story, and
Well,
you know,
yeah. And then you also have an ensemble cast that you're trying to fit so many character stories into just one episode. Yeah, I mean, there's, even though it is TV, there's still, when you have so many characters, only so much story you can tell.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on to second act. Lucy stares at her father's storybook as she worries about the curse, but Henry and Ella have a plan. They tell Lucy to pack some things. As she leaves, Ella worries if they are doing the right thing. But if Regina isn't successful, it may be the only way. Regina searches the realms and finds Emerald Acres Farms. When she tries to enter, she's greeted by a few well placed warning arrows. Apparently, her niece Robin has inherited her father's aim. Zelina welcomes Regina to the family farm. Regina mentions how old Regina is getting, or Robin is getting. Zelina has some throwaway line about realms and timelines or whatever, but that's not important. Regina needs help to stop the curse. Zelina tells her she's familiar with Gothel and her brood. They ask her to join her coven, or they've asked her to join her coven. The sisters decided to join forces, and it's time for a witch fight. Back in spin class, things aren't quite as amicable. Kelly blames Ronnie for driving her daughter away. Ronnie wants a chance to explain and invites her for a drink. Kelly just wants her to go away. Henry rushes in and tells Ronnie about Lucy. She tells him to go. But she has to settle things here. She tells him to go, but she has to settle things here. With that, he gives her his keys and rushes off to the airport. All right. So the one moment in this episode that really upset me was why would you even mention timelines at this point without some sort of legitimate response? Because like it almost felt like they were just trolling or baiting us at that point.
Yeah,
because
I
mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you start okay. I wasn't even going to mention it. They're the ones that brought it up. You start you start going like okay, so Robin's 25, is that right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so she was what? I don't know, 13 or no, 15 years younger than Henry, right?
Sounds all right.
Okay. So that means that he is, I don't know, if she's 25, he's 40.
No, he's not 40.
No, he's like around.
Different timeline, I think, is what they're trying to say.
I understand that, but like instead of actually trying to explain that, they just like throw out this little like, oh, that should be in, here's a breadcrumb for you guys. That's enough to explain why, it's timey-wimey. It's fine. No, it's not fine because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay. So Hook was old. Okay, so Alice was as old, but how did Alice? Like Monica would be sitting here and her ears would be bleeding, and she'd just be like, "Stop it! I don't want to talk about this."
Stop. Most definitely, I also agree with you. The timeline thing is just.
Monica is active now on Messenger. She's awake.
Well, tell her to get her butt over here to the show.
Come on in.
Yeah, tell her the show's still on, or the show's going on, and we need her butt over here. Okay, but yeah, I don't know. I like Zelena being back, but why is she in the realms with them? How and when did that happen? Is she in the realms with them, or is she just in a different realm? Or did Ronnie or Regina rather have to travel back to her realm to get Zelena? That's never really quite. But then Zelena and Robin have to have been there at some point because Robin and Alice have a relationship, and none of this is making any sense. And the writers swear they have some sort of coherent timeline, and I still want to see it. But
I'm starting to not believe them.
Yeah, especially when they have a line like that. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah, we don't need to talk about
working.
Anyway. I don't know. I guess that's really all I had to say about that. I just really had a problem with that. Elizabeth, do you have
well, I was just going to add on to what you were saying. I mean, like, should I be grateful that they brought up the timelines that they can't seem to keep? It seems like they can't seem to keep track themselves, or and by themselves, I don't mean the writers. I mean the characters.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like Regina looked like she couldn't keep track.
Yeah, Regina's like, "How are you so old?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, it's the whole timeline thing. Our realm. She's old, but not time passes differently in our realm." And
just like with like Bell. I mean, Belle's dead now because she lived her whole life with Rumple in another realm, and so now she's dead, and so that's another timeline issue too. So they're everywhere.
No, I know. Anyway, Tony, did you have anything to add about Robin or anyone?
Something that's just small. I mean, like I'm guessing father like daughter. I mean, or is it like, yeah, like father?
Yeah, it's father like daughter.
There you go. Yeah, but I mean, I'm glad that she's got her straight characteristics from her father and everything. I'm really hoping also for the fact that she starts to do magic as well.
Uh-huh.
When it comes from taking different types of cues from her mother and everything like that too.
Right. Maybe she's got some magic arrows.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, for it to be ever so straight, for it not to be, by nature, or was it by magic?
Right.
But,
Oh, and that arrow like went between her fingers, did it not?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, it did.
So, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't just like on the side of her hand. That was like
Those were just warning shots.
I don't know.
There's some pretty those are definitely some warning shots, all right.
At first, when I first saw it, that didn't look like no warning. That looked like a shoot. I missed. Barely.
Yeah, right. So, have you heard from Monica, Elizabeth?
I mean, she's up, but I don't know if she's on her way.
Okay. Well, in that case, I am just going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, or the next act. Hook comes to Rumple in hopes that he may be able to help stop the curse. It seems the curse may be too powerful even for him, but he does offer a token that may help. It will make sure that Alice remains Hook's daughter, even when the curse separates everybody. Alice tells Hook that for now she must stay with Rumple, but asks him to deliver a letter to her love. In Seattle, Rogers asks around about Lucy when Tilly tells him he's missing something. She rushes to show him the symbol from Eloise's notebook before it's washed away. At the hospital, Henry rushes in to be with Lucy, and Jacinda falls into his arms. In San Francisco, Ronnie still wants Kelly to have that drink, and she's not taking no for an answer. It takes a moment and some prodding from Regina, but soon Zelina remembers everything. Regina tells her they need to save her family, but Zelina says it may not be that easy. Kelly's engaged. At the precinct, Weaver sets up some blades to test Anastasia. She seems to be drawn to what looks like the dark dagger when all of them fly across the room and into the cabinet where the true dagger actually lies. Okay, so in that scene in the forest with Alice and Rumple, why? Okay, first of all, why did Rumple look like that again? Because that didn't make it.
Question. I was not happy with that. It's like, okay, wait a minute.
But there's something going on there because, like, I had to watch the scene 3 or 4 times. Okay, so my first question was like, wait a second, why does Rumple look like that? Because it's not like, okay, it's not this land's Rumple or the Hook Rumple. This is the actual Rumple, because he gives the chipped cup to Alice and talks about, this will wake up gold. Okay, so this is our Rumple. But what happened?
I think
what.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. There's a thing where, Hook says to Alice, "Hey," asks Alice if you actually want to stay here, and then Alice says, "I have to look after him after what he's given up for me."
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that exchange or no?
Which begs the question: what happened between
right?
them?
What did obviously. Now, yes, we did see that Alice is pretty much the first person he met when he came through the portal to this land after he left, the land where Belle died at. So this was the first land he came to, and Alice was the first. But we'll go into that. But that being said, they obviously shared what in the short time that whatever time this took place, I guess 8 years, because he came in shortly before Henry and Ella really got bit, hot and bothered, and now we're here at the curse on the 8th birthday, so it would have been roughly 8 to 9 years. That Alice and Rumple kind of like had whatever adventures they've had together that led to her deciding that she has to stay by his side, and Rumple in the state that he's in. Mm-hmm. Obviously not totally, obviously he's already had something happen to his mind.
Mm-hmm.
saying that he like tucked Mr. Gold away and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what had happened. The
Right.
reason why, the Rumble persona is out. You know,
Yeah, no, I just hope that it's something that doesn't get brushed aside. I hope it's something that they actually talk about, come the next season, next half season.
mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, as far as showing people, showing certain people right before the curse hits and everything like that, it's got to be the Royal Rumble because, by him saying so, like, hey, so I lock gold up,
in this cup,
in this
yeah,
cup here, so which leads him to come back to his other persona, which is
right. It's obvious. It's obviously our Rumple, but I just think like there's so much
at,
story there that we
at
didn't know before. Now,
hmm At first, what I was thinking that I'm like, wait a minute, okay, why are you scaly now? That makes no sense. And then I thought about
Mhm.
it, and I'm like, okay, wait, there's one or two things. Either he can be the real Rumpelstiltskin, locking up gold into the cup, saying, hey, I'm gonna need this later, so take care of it, blah blah blah, or
Okay.
that may be Wish Rumble. That's what I was thinking beforehand because Wish Rumble was nothing
I think
but
something happened with. I don't think it's Wish Rumple. I think something happened with Alice, and we're just hopefully it'll be an episode in this next next back half that really it was
right,
just a backstory that I didn't realize was there, and there's a lot of interesting things that I feel could come from it.
exactly. The Wish Rumble wish is a theory.
Okay.
Not definitely canon for me, but I was just saying like maybe it could have been one of the two.
All right. Sorry about that. My phone, my computer chimed, wanted to do an update. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a podcast. I can't do that. Monica's here.
Monica.
Hi.
Have
She fell under a sleeping curse.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It happens. I kind of figured that's what happened. But we waited for as long as we could.
To quote Grease, the gang's back together.
The gang's all here, guys. The gang's all here. Let me see. We were just going into the third act. So while you're here, Monica, let's go ahead and ask you. I don't know if you got the note, or actually, we're just going into the fourth act. But Monica, you have all the. I don't know if you have the notes up or not.
Notes.
I'm sorry.
My notes.
Okay. While you're getting your notes together, Elizabeth. You had anything to add about the third act? There?
I'm getting sicker by the minute. My nose is starting to get.
Yeah, I'm hearing you cough and stuff. I'm sorry. I'll try to let you like talk as least as possible.
This is my aunt's fault. Okay. She had to go get sick. All right. So, okay, Zelina was cursed for the first time to be a hippie, and I thought that was hilarious. Her reaction is like, I was cursed to be a hippie. Like, her, the way she said it was just really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, this is kind of like spoilerish a little bit. I read an article that says that the man she's engaged to is a real person. He's not from any other realm. He doesn't have magic. He's a real person. So Adam and Eddie want to explore, I guess, that relationship and the difficulties that she's going to have being honest with him. And, yeah, that's what I read from that article. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really all
I felt that in the exchange with Ronnie and Kelly, Regina, Zelina, whatever you want here. Like that whole week. Yeah, like I definitely felt that they were going that way, and I believe it was in the first or second season where there was the whole "we are both" thing. But I really feel like they didn't go really too far into "we are both" with that. Whereas now, specifically in that scene with Selena, they really like went, it was really all about like, it, yeah, this was a cursed life, but it's still a life that, I still feel these feelings. I can't not, whereas before, yeah, we are both, but then at the same time, at Snow was always the first to be like, "Oh, we were in a curse." If you know what I'm saying. So Dave was like, "Yeah, but we're both." You still did what you did.
You said that once, and that was to defend yourself against sleeping with Dr. Whale. Okay?
I know. I just was kind of being a little funny, but in all seriousness, it almost felt like before that, like the cursed self was false. The cursed self it's not the true you, even though they did keep saying you are both. That really wasn't the case. Whereas here with this storyline, I feel like they're trying to go more down the lines of wait, the cursed self matters. Those experiences. Yeah, those experiences.
And I'm trying to understand. This is another timeline issue. How long have they been cursed for? Because I don't understand how long this curse has been enacted. I don't understand.
I'm thinking 2 years because I'm pretty sure we've been told that Lucy is 10.
Okay.
For some reason, I have this.
You're right.
I have a feeling that Lucy is 10, and if Lucy's 10, then on her 8th birthday, the curse was enacted. So they've been under this curse for 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Tony, did you have anything to add about Kelly?
Basically, what I was saying is that I wanted to also agree with you guys. Like if that is the the width of the curse, that's the smallest curse I've ever seen. Which means that all that crap talk she was doing, like, oh, I'm gonna cause this curse and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and your curse was on for 2 years. Hush up.
Right.
Was for 2 years. But anyway, though, I'm going to definitely miss Kelly. I mean, of course, I think Kelly was just, much more of a let me see, I want to say comedic side of Zelina, but other than that, she's always been funny with her one-liners and things like that too. But I am definitely going to miss this character, and I really do hope that when they do bring in the person who she's supposed to marry, I hope that they also bring the daughter back and not say, okay, well, she's still missing, but hey, here's my fiance.
I'm pretty sure I've seen.
Oh, yeah. They have to bring Robin back into it.
Okay, here's 2 things about what you just said. Second of all, I'm pretty sure I've seen set pictures of the Robin character in modern day in like almost like a Catholic school type uniform. Now that said, if that's true and that she's there as Lena's daughter, Kelly's daughter, whatever, how is that the case? Because under the curse, the only person who could still be the daughter of anyone would have to have that token that Rumpel gave to Hook that then was given to Jacinda. So if that's the case, then how would Kelly and Robin still have a connection? Or seeing, you know what I'm saying, Zelina and Robin and Kelly and whatever Robin's cursed persona is.
I really think that it's just probably for the fact that that now that Zelina is quote unquote awake from the curse, it just seems like now that now the mother-daughter relationship is actually going to be real for her instead of what it was going to be, had she still continued being Kelly.
Well, I guess all I'm trying to say is that if the daughter that is mentioned in the Ronnie and Kelly relationship there is the cursed persona of Robin, that really makes no sense. Because there was that whole thing in this episode where like everyone was going to be jumbled up. No one was going to know the other person. Everyone was going to be jumbled up. And there's a few things I have to say about that, and I might as well go ahead and say them now. That I just mentioned there about Robin and Zelina, but then also, okay, we understand why Lucy was still Lucy and was Jacinda's daughter. But if that's the case, why was Henry still Henry? And why was he still an author? Why was Henry still so closely, it almost feels as if maybe that's the little input that Regina could put into the curse.
Mm-hmm.
When she had to put her little bit in, without them knowing, maybe that was her saying,
Hey,
Henry will
Give
still
us
be
the fighting
Henry.
chance.
Yeah, Henry will still be Henry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that was where my head went because it didn't make any sense that everyone else is jumbled up and in such a different scenario, but Henry is in such a familiar place.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
but anyway,
I guess when you put it that way and everything, it would make much more sense.
Mhm.
And also by Regina being the caster of the curse, spoiler alert.
kind of. She was
put in her 2 cents.
No, I know. Okay, that was the whole spoiler, and we'll just go ahead and say it now. That she was the person who cast the curse, but did she really though? and she definitely played. She was like the final element of the curse, and had to do what she did. If she didn't, then the curse would have been cast.
Mm-hmm.
But really, Drizella was like the master, the planner of the curse. And then if you really want to come down to it, in my opinion, it almost felt like Gothel was really the person who cast the curse.
That's who I thought. I mean, in the end, in the end, it just seems like that that she was the person who casted this curse, and it just seems like she was basically using Drizella from that point on.
Right, exactly, and every other piece, Regina, everything. I feel that's how I feel. Like that was the thing. Was like Tremaine cast the curse. No, Drizella cast the curse. No, Regina cast the curse. And that's the thing. And I even read the article where they were like, well, we liked that whole thing back in whatever season it was where Snow and Charming are the ones that had to end up casting the curse. So we thought we'd put some sort of like twist on that and have Regina cast the curse. But like I said, in the way that it's laid out here, I just kind of feel like, with the exception of maybe the one little twist, like in my theory, where she was able to maybe throw Henry in there, I really don't feel like she had anything to do with the curse other than just having an ingredient for it to be enacted.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think her blood in general, not so much of her just doing the curse. It was her blood in general, which was the last ingredient of
no, it was, yes, exactly. Apparently, they needed a witch who did this and a witch who did that and a witch. That's what it sounded like, because then the 8th ingredient was a witch who has destroyed the heart of the thing she loves most. And so that's what we'll I'll get more into the witch thing here, I believe, after the next act. Monica, you had something about a lost reference.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Michael has been screaming at the top of his lungs. There's something that's been bugging me. I looked it up. Is that that Scotch that keeps appearing? Lost reference.
Oh, like actual when you say a lost reference, you like literally mean
the show Lost.
The show Lost, yeah, like it not like a not found reference.
No. If you watched it, the guy who plays King George, spacing on his last name.
Jack's dad or whatever, or someone's dad.
No. Penny. He was Penny's father.
Okay, I'm kind
jerk
of a novice of Lost. Yeah, I know who. Yes, we know. I don't remember the actor's name, but I know who you're talking about.
Total jerk. There was a guy asking for Penny's hand in marriage. He
Right.
pours out a self
Mhm.
and says something along the lines of, I you will never be worthy of a glass of this scotch, much less my daughter's hand.
Right. Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
jerk.
Okay. So
But yeah, it's
apparently
the
he's
same brand.
that's like a typecast thing. He plays kind of a jerk face in a lot of
Um, yeah, it's the same fictional brand.
Okay, well
I,
that's
I
no. There's always didn't they do like a candy bar at some point that was like a Lost reference and a few other things here in the show?
that one I didn't catch.
What?
I'm pretty sure that they have done a Lost reference before in this show. Like maybe they might have even mentioned Oceanic. I don't even know, but I know that there have been ties to Lost on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the
Other than actors.
Yeah, yes, well, yeah. Obviously, other than actors and creators, but yeah, they've like little nods. It's always been just a small, like I said, I believe they did a candy bar at one point where like some or maybe a book that someone was reading. I mean, like it's all it's never been it's all been throwaway stuff like you just mentioned, kind of someone's pouring a certain kind of thing or someone's whatever. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if that necessarily means that they like exist in the same universe or that it's just the creators kind of sly little nod to previous work. um, is there anything else you wanted to add, Monica, before we move on?
Um, oh, when Ronnie is pouring the drinks, she actually only pours one.
I did notice that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then she grins so much when she hands it to Selena, and I'm like, I was Selena, I would not drink that.
You're awful. Uh, eager for me to get to drink this drink. Why don't you take a sip first?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I know as well, but Zelina doesn't.
No, I hear you. No, I
Monica,
definitely.
and she's like, I want you to have a drink with me, but then she's giving her one drink, and Ryan's not taking a drink.
And
Yeah.
not even I'm going to pour myself one and then not drink it. Pour myself one. I'm just going to grin maniacally as you drink it.
Well, why would she even she instead of like pouring 2 cups and putting the stuff into one of the cups, she like put it directly into the bottle, so it's not like she could have even just been like, here, I'll take a swig and whatever. Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely something that caught my eye as well.
Sure.
So now that bottle is the extra magic juice.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, okay, so if she put that into that bottle, and this actually just came to me, just sip of that was able to wake Selena, then why couldn't she bring that back to the town and give everyone a shot?
Hello. Shots, everyone.
Shot. Hold on.
Everybody.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was wondering about.
When we opened the show, we were all waving towels in the air when the music came on. When Zelina did it in the gym, it was really funny. You missed it.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Anyway, yeah, okay, so if no one else has anything to add, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the 4th act. Selena worries about the life she's leaving behind. Regina apologized for coming in the first place, but Selena says that she has to do what's right for her family and friends. That's what heroes do. At Lucy's bedside, Jacinda thinks that Henry might help by reading from his book, and he knows exactly which part to read. In the realms, Henry brings Lucy to the oldest tree in the forest. Each realm has one. It's what connects all of them. Tiger Lily shows up with Geppetto's axe. Henry plans to make a wardrobe to transport him and Lucy before the curse is cast, just like the Charmings did for Emma. Tiger Lily takes Lucy to safety, and Henry begins his task. Before he can finish, he's attacked by howling shadows. He runs to Lucy and hands her the book. He will fend off the shadows, but she must keep the book safe. Okay, first of all, that was a pretty short act as far as the commercial breaks and everything go. But I mean, we more or less end on like the beginning of the season. I mean, that may be the same scene they filmed with Henry rushing in.
Wait. No. It was not the beginning of the season. It was the end of season 6. It was
it was both. I believe that's also how they opened this season too, wasn't it, or no?
No.
No. Well, no. Okay, so basically, they opened up with Henry running, and
so it was like the next part after that.
Exactly.
And then getting to the Harry's house and waking up Lucy, and that was all season 6.
No, but and then season 7 was after that.
Season 7 opened with Lucy at Henry's door going, "Are you Henry Mills? I'm your daughter."
But isn't that how season 6 ended too? Wasn't that like the very last part of so?
So it ended the same way it began.
Okay, but just not the other part. I understand. Okay.
I mean,
I was confused.
Like we can now basically say that we now know why Henry was running. Period. Because nobody knew. Like even Andrew J. West was like, I don't even know why I'm even running. We don't even know yet.
Right. I almost wonder if they even knew when they finished season 6 what they were gonna do as far as really with the coven and everything else. You know what I'm saying?
I think they had it figured out. They just didn't tell much.
But then, to be honest with you, in this episode, we don't see anything of the coven. We don't. I mean, we see
because
cloaked figures. Yeah. And then we see empty cloaks.
Like technically, all we saw was mannequins with the cloaks over them.
Right.
Chosen.
And then when the curse was first cast, all of them on that mountainside. Mm-hmm. So we saw them there.
I don't understand if you're a witch, how you're gonna stay like this under the cape and not show your face and be like, yeah, I'm part of this. And what? Like, how are you not gonna speak up for yourself, kind of thing? They're just like,
they were stationary. That was the thing. It's like they were stationary, careful not to move. And I mean, there isn't too much to explain about it. I mean, they were supposed to be like stand-ins basically until they're actually chosen.
No, I know. I'm just making fun of it.
But I think they were chosen already. I think that they just haven't cast the actors yet. Mm-hmm. And so that's why all we saw were cloaked figures.
Exactly.
And I did read an article where they were talking about this is all going. You're going to recognize all of the witches rather. And it's not like it's going to be like, oh, every week we're going to go find a different witch. It's not like that. But they'll spend a few episodes, gathering the witches. But they'll all be witches from different stories and Disney lore that we remember, that we recognize.
Mm-hmm. Written one of the ones down.
So that because I did bring that up at the end, and we'll get into that a little more later. Okay, so like I was saying, this does seem like it came a full circle, and while there might be some plot holes, it does finally feel like maybe the writers actually had a plan going into this. Elizabeth,
we count on them for having, for being here when we need them to be, but they will be there at the end. And say, surprise, we do have a story.
Right. Did you have anything to add, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think I had 2 or 3 things to add. So the first thing I want to say is, of course, Henry has to read the part about when he was in a coma to Lucy, Because when he says, "Oh, I know exactly what part to read," I'm like, "Well, of course. I mean, there's only one thing you can read to her, which relates to this moment." And then when he was chopping down the tree, I'm like, "That's a big tree. He should have given himself so much more time to cut it and fashion it. Because didn't it take Geppetto a while to make it all pretty and all that, cut it down, all that?"
To be fair, they were kind of working on a budget, and he's not a master carpenter, so I would imagine that even if he had the tree,
he barely looked like he even made a dent in that tree.
It would have been like one of those scenarios where like your weekend dad like builds you a tree house, and it's just like 4 pieces of plywood held together by some nails, and he's just like, "Hey kids," and you're just like, "I don't even want to go up in that."
Oh goodness. And then my last point was what we were just discussing is now we can finally connect the dots from the season 6 finale, which I'm really happy about that because ever since the season 6 finale, I've been, and the whole season so far, I've been like, okay, explain them running through the woods, explain all this, and so I finally did. So I was really happy that they did that.
Agreed. Yeah, it was really nice to see it come full circle and finally be like, oh, that's what happened. That's what happened, you know. And that's what I like about, like, I feel like a good mid-season finale kind of answers the questions that have been floating in the air all season, and then, you know, also has to bring forth new questions to make you want to tune in for the second half, you know.
Yeah.
And then actually to kind of tie into something you'd said, these are my favorite kinds of flashbacks when it's actually kind of story based, where like someone in the story is telling someone about something that happened, or there's a reason for the flashback to happen. I know, like, so many times, you know, in this show, you know, because the flashbacks are such a piece of the show, there's not really any reason for them to be there. It's just another scene. And so many times I'm not going to say it can get confusing because obviously the set design and everything shows you where what's going, where they are and what's going on. But when you try to break it down and start trying to explain what happened where, it makes it hard to do so sometimes. And I really like when they are able to integrate it more organically.
Definitely. You just got to be patient.
Tony, you had something to mention about the parallels?
Yeah, so with the parallels, you gotta love those parallels, man. My favorite parallel, besides with Henry already reading to Lucy, about when he was, asleep for the moment. I think it was also cool how he was reading to her at how Snow was reading to David about just the whole book and as a whole as their story. I really like that. And also, I have a quick question.
Right.
When in the world is Tiger Lily going to become a citizen of any town? I mean, like, it just seems like she's there and she just gets out before danger sets in really quick.
Or well, either that or
that old.
She could be in another town like Kelly was. She could have come to Harbor Heights or Hyperion Heights rather 2 years
Harbor
ago.
Heights?
I corrected myself after I said Hyperion Heights.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't call you out on it.
I know. We missed it, guys. No, but seriously, no, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Tiger Lily may, just like Kelly did, like she may have come during the curse and then got brushed off, because that was the whole thing at the beginning of the season where they were like, Belfry is doing what she can to split the storybook characters apart. And that never really was addressed again. Like they said at the beginning of the season, like in like kind of a synopsis, like that's what was happening. But that really never was, that's never really what was happening.
I mean,
at least I never
they
felt
didn't
that
show
way.
any of the characters leaving.
Right. Kelly's the first person we've seen outside of the outside of the town that's actually a storybook character like that.
Mhm. I'm just thinking that maybe it's because when they were saying that Belfry has done this, maybe it's just for the fact of the bigger characters that are away from the actual town. Maybe maybe there are others you know
Oh,
from from a
we
distance.
may get into other characters in the second part of the season, but at this point, now we know that Belfry / Tremaine isn't even really technically the fact that she's supposed to be how did they put it, gentrificating the neighborhood or whatever, gentrifying the neighborhood. um it just never really came up. Like, I mean, it came up that she was doing that to kind of mess with Jacinda and Lucy and whatever, mess with Lucy's belief, but
Mhm.
it wasn't like, I don't know. I guess I really don't really have anything too much more to add on that note. Did you have anything to add, Monica?
Oh, only thing I caught on this bit was when Henry told Tiger Lily to take Lucy. He said, "Take Lucy to your place to sleep." And I'm not a parent, but that just sounded really odd to my ears. Like, for me, you'd be like, "Okay, take Lucy to your place for the night." Odd phrasing. Just took me out of the scene for a moment.
Okay, that's fair.
Mhm.
Um,
Awkward. Hey, take my daughter to go while I go cut down the street.
and then you said Lucy already had the book.
I mean, was Lucy even tired?
I don't think anyone's
It was
tired when
like,
you're like being chased by like howling shadows. I don't think the first thing you're trying to do is
right?
go to sleep.
Yeah. Even dark yet, so it wasn't late at night.
It
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't even dark, like you just said.
I mean, it was dark, but not late at night. No.
Right. Yeah. It may have been like 6 or 7 o'clock. Although, to be fair, this time of year, 6 or 7 is pretty darn dark.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, they said it's about to be dark,
Right. Yeah. And
or darkness is coming in, or something like
right.
that.
Darkness is about to set, or whatever. Yeah. Something.
Darkness.
The darkness is descending upon us all.
Oh, God. Anyway, move on.
It's coming.
Lucy arrives at the castle to warn the witches, or to warn them that realizes that they must continue to stop the curse or nothing will matter. On an ominous-looking mountainside, Gothel and her coven appear with Drizella to cast the curse. Tremaine shows up to confront her daughter. Drizella tells her mother the pretenses of the curse before putting her to sleep. Regina and friends show up to stop the coven, and they begin to make light work of them until Drizella unveils that they've poisoned Henry. Only a land without magic will save Henry, and they need Regina to cast the curse that will take them there. At the precinct, Weaver is having Anastasia imbue a spell to help Lucy when she senses someone. It's Gothel. Weaver tries to calm her, but Anna goes all Carrie, sending Weaver, Gothel, and Belfry flying. Anastasia runs away and is stopped by Drizella. She places flowers on Anna's wrist that will dampen her magic. Drizella tells her to come with her and she'll be safe. So was anyone else like screaming at the screen like, "Don't go with her, Anna"?
What?
I said, was anyone else screaming at the screen, "Don't go with her, Anna"?
I mean,
um,
I was like, come on, really?
Yeah, it's not. Anastasia's not gonna know. Obviously.
Anastasia. Well, yeah, obviously, Anastasia seems a bit like naive for being like
how old is she
15 or
supposed
16.
to be?
Well, I would imagine. I was just gonna say, I think she's probably like 15 or 16.
She can't be 15 or 16. She has the boobs.
Well, I mean, hey,
Yes.
guess what?
We don't all develop as quickly as you did, Elizabeth.
Right.
I developed quickly. You assumed that.
Like we all don't develop as fast as everybody.
Right.
You're not talking about me.
Well, I look, I'm not even getting it. Okay, now I was about to say something that I don't know if I should say in this time and age. I was about to be like, I've seen plenty of 15 or 16-year-old girls that are, wait a second, no, I haven't. I don't even.
Okay, Bobby, I'll go ahead and
Sorry.
take your place. I'm 9. So, yes.
Okay. Look, okay. Let me say this.
Definitely have boobs.
Let me say this. I have a 14-year-old girl, and she. Okay, I definitely am afraid to have her go outside the house sometimes. But that being said, I've also seen some of her friends that are not as developed as her. So I hope that's a clinical way to put that. That does not put me in any sort of camp where I get kicked off this podcast. That being said, let's move on from the subject.
People are wrong. Bobby turns and you are red.
Bobby is so red right now.
Anyway, where were we?
We're talking about adolescence.
Like I said, let's change the subject. Where were we? Hold on a second.
Like all I could fit.
I'm sorry, I can't even see straight right now. Lucy already has the book. Okay, Lucy. Okay.
I mean, like all I can see is a blue.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Let's change the subject. Tony, did you have anything to add? Because I think Elizabeth didn't put anything for notes on the subject.
I have something to say, but I didn't put any notes. I forgot.
Okay, well, Elizabeth, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I honestly felt that there was a lot of surprises in this episode that I just honestly didn't see coming. I did not see the poisoning of Henry coming, nor who cast the curse. It was just, they really caught me off guard, and in the best way possible. It was just like, oh, okay, didn't see that coming, and then, we're not at the end of the episode yet, but what Regina says, it's like, well, someone's got to die. But I'm getting ahead and I know it, but I really, okay, I'll just wait for that thought. I'll wait for that thought. But
you're fine.
I really, what?
Yeah, I was just saying you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I was really caught off guard to see Henry under that robe, and his eyes were bloodshot. Oh my god.
Yeah, I almost wonder. I was like, geez, what did they have to do to that guy's eyes to make them look like that?
What was he smoking?
Oh, I wasn't going there, but whatever.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Oh, this episode. And anyway.
Aren't you glad I'm back?
Tony, did you have anything to add?
All I can see is another blue screen with the. We'll be right back with these messages.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my god. No, but if anything, if I had been the only one that had said something about it, I'd have been like, you should just let me go first and say, yes, I did not see, Regina being the caster of the curse. I mean, it was completely by surprise. But yes.
Yeah, I didn't even see her having anything to do with it. Like I said, I kind of feel like there's kind of a weird, like, who really did cast the curse. But regardless of that, I didn't think Regina would have anything to do with it, let alone.
No, not at all. It's like
she was a mother put in the worst situation for her child, I think.
Right.
To have to make that decision.
Mm-hmm. It just really kind of sucks that now it's like, okay, well, if you don't cast the curse,
right,
your son's
yeah.
is going to kill him. If you don't, if you do, then everything will be cool. It's kind of putting a parent in a very bad situation.
Yeah.
And it makes sense with Gisela woke Ronnie up. she said something along the lines of, "You remember what I did in it." So she kind of teases that Ronnie would or Regina was at least there
You
when
right.
it was cast, or right before.
You are right about that. We should have caught it by then.
Right. Yeah, and then I believe I also read an article that said, go back and watch that scene again. There's a lot that you may not realize that what the exchanges that were said between them and everything. Like, oh, okay, that's what that meant.
Exactly.
So again, once, like I said, the article I read was like, look, we really do plan things. Go back and watch episode 3. Go back and watch episode 1. Anyway, move on to the final act here. Henry lays dying. Regina has no choice but to cast the curse. A few drops of blood is all it takes. Fires crackle and darkness starts to envelop the land. In the forest, Rumpel gives Alice a cup. It's the key to waking him from the curse. Robin arrives. She got Alice's letter. She's come to say goodbye, but Alice knows that they'll see each other again. Jacinda worries how she'll find Lucy. Hook gives her the elephant from Rumpel so Lucy will remain her daughter. Henry continues to read to Lucy as the story comes to a close. He wants so much for her to be awake that he finally believes. He tries to rouse her as Emma did for him, but it's too late. Without Lucy's belief, true love's kiss won't work. Regina gets a call from Henry. Regina and Zelina know they have to break the curse now to save Lucy, but they also know that doing so will doom Henry. Drizella brings Anastasia to an abandoned house where Gothel is waiting for them. Anna is confused. Drizella grabs Anna's wrist to sap her magic, but something is wrong. Drizella falls back, drained. Gothel has transferred all the power to Anastasia. Gothel pushes Drizella down a well where her mother has been trapped as well. Rogers and Tilly go to the precinct and find Weaver in the evidence room. They stumble through the aftermath of Anastasia's freakout to tell Weaver about the symbol they found, but he already knows. It means the coven is here. Back at the shack, Gothel brings Anastasia to a room filled with cloaks. The same cloaks that were worn by the coven. They're empty now, but soon she will find them, and the coven of the 8 will be joined. So what the heck was a well doing just in the middle of a house, first of all?
I didn't even think of that until you just
just in the middle of the house. Just there's a well.
It doesn't look like it's in the middle of the house though. It kind of looks like a back house, kind of. You know what I mean? Like,
but no, it's. I mean, at the very least, it might be a guest house or something because there's electrical stuff in the There's panels on the wall where you can see electrical wire. Like the drywall's gone, but you can see electrical wiring and stuff. So that's why I say abandoned house. But regardless, like even if there's a house. You don't build a house around a well. Like, even if you have a well in your backyard, you don't put a structure around it. That's not how it works.
No.
But anyway, that just made no sense to me. And then, like I'd said before, I did read that they are planning on populating this coven of 8 with witches that we've heard of before. So I was just curious if you guys had any guesses as to who that might be. I can't. It's specifically Disney lore because they specifically say stories and Disney lore. And so I wonder, like, what other witches are there from Disney lore?
But does it have to be from Disney because they've pulled from other places?
I understand that, and I understand that, and I know that they'll take from other places because they didn't just say Disney lore. But the fact that they specifically also added from Disney lore, that obviously tells you that they will be taking from Disney lore, but I just can't think of too many witches from Disney that aren't
especially if they haven't already
that they haven't already utilized. Exactly. Because obviously you've got the evil queen, you've got the wicked the wicked witch of the west, rather, which technically isn't even really Disney, but whatever.
Oh, What about what was her name from the Emperor's New Groove?
Oh, or Uzra or
Yzma.
Oh,
Yzma.
Emperor's
Yzma.
New
That's
Groove?
yes. Yeah. Yzma.
Oh.
That could I could see that.
They haven't done that one.
No, they haven't.
Kronk.
Yeah,
And
bring
they
Kronk on.
kind of redeemed Melissa.
Maleficent.
So she's at least mostly out of the running. I
Right.
joined that
Yeah,
kind
and,
of.
and that's and, that, and that's what I say is that
I still want to know who Lily's father is.
yeah, I doubt we'll ever get to know that, especially since we've moved on to another realm. Period.
I would love to see Pam again.
Like I could see them, like Morgana Le Fay.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Like I would. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a. Was she in the Black Cauldron?
From Arthurian legend.
Right. Yes. Yeah. She's Merlin's girlfriend. The evil dark sorceress from like King Arthur stuff. So that's who I would say would probably. That's like I don't think that's a Disney lore thing, but that's just my guess for one of the picks for the Coven would be Morgana Le Fay.
Well, she was in what was that movie with Nick Cage?
Oh, The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Sorcerer's Apprentice, yeah.
Yeah, she was. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a Disney movie, so yeah, that could work.
It is.
And they've already touched on Arthurian stuff, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they had. Did Morgana come up at all during that arc?
What?
No.
She wasn't in the show, but they did go
like grab a artifact from her or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, that's just something to think of over the break. They did say it was like I think March 2nd they'll be back. So
March 2nd.
Yeah, just another question to mull over until they come back. Did you have anything to add, Elizabeth?
Hold on, let me look at my notes. Okay, so when Regina is casting the curse, does Regina just like magically tear her own hand open to drop the blood to start the curse? Because I've never seen that done before. There was no blade. There wasn't anything to cut her hand. It just opened, and that was gross.
That's exactly what she did, and I didn't catch it until the second or third viewing, and I had the same. Like I had the same reaction. Like, whoa, did she just do that? I've
never seen that on anything I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I did catch that moment.
I'm like, that's some powerful magic right there. You can just tear yourself open. Okay, and then my other comment was, why did Ella turn to Hook of all people to ask, how will Lucy know me? How will I know my daughter? In her mind, how in her mind will he have the answers she seeks in that moment? Like, of all the people to turn to, she looks right at him, not knowing he's got the magical solution. It was
I think it was just convenient that he was standing there at the moment when she said that. I don't think that she was like, I don't think she was looking to anyone to say anything. He just happened to be the person that was standing next to her when she, like she would have said that out loud to even if no one had been standing next to her. She would have said that, you know what I'm saying? And then he just happened to be standing there and heard her say it. I forgot to mention this earlier about the elephant that he ended up giving to Jacinda, but why wouldn't he have given that to Alice earlier when Alice said that she was going to be separated from Robin? I almost, like if he was going to give it to anyone, I felt like he would have given it to Robin at that point, and then he just wouldn't have had it to give to Jacinda like that. That being said, I wonder if that it started to make me wonder if Rumple's motives were totally genuine with the thing, because like he gave it to Hook to give to Alice so that she would remember that that she was his daughter, but then he also gave Alice the cup and said, "Here, you're gonna have to tell me," because in his mind he was thinking Alice was gonna have that elephant, so she'll remember after the curse the same way Lucy does.
This is true.
Do you not agree with that, Monica?
He specifically said because Hook says, "So this remember who we are."
Yes,
and Bumble says, "No, you will have new memories. You'll still have the same relationship."
But then why does? Okay, yes, you're right. He does say that. I do remember him saying that. But at the same time, then why does Lucy, remember how she remembers? Is it a combination of the elephant and
Henry
the book?
know all along?
I
don't think it has to do with. I think it
just belief.
It's in the script.
It's in the script. Yeah, that's true
too.
Script. Maybe it's just that because they're both the truest believers, that their belief,
that could be, the daughter of the truest believer. Of course, she believes.
Yeah. Anyway, let me see. Tony, did I miss you? Did you say? As far as Tony, did you want to add anything?
As far as the witches goes, I know that they had definitely confirmed that the from the Haunted Mansion movie, the witch that was in there is definitely.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A witch that is coming as one of the.
Madame Leota?
Maybe we'll finally see Ursula. Haven't we actually not seen Ursula? Like every Ursula. Oh no! Well, yeah, she was there. Yes.
And she had a redemption arc, so she's not.
Yeah, so she's not going to be there either. Jesus.
I'd like to see her again, but it won't be in that capacity.
Maybe Regina has to assemble a coven of her own.
That'd be cool too.
So you have Regina, Zelina, Ursula,
Bobby.
I'm sorry.
Tony's trying to say something.
I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. What I was trying to say is that that what I'm thinking that maybe it's just a different
Ursula.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Like this realm's Ursula. Just like we have this realm's Rapunzel. This yeah, I hear you. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll be treated to this realm's Maleficent and Ursula, and
Oh God, no! Please no.
The ones that haven't been redeemed.
Exactly. Now, I mean, like that's what it just seems like.
Andy, who? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they draw that out. I hope that they don't. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they kind of have to, because obviously that's going to be what the main showdown. And I kind of like that, if it will be like a coven of good versus the coven of bad, Be interesting to see if they go down that road or not.
That would be very interesting. Like, ones that we already know, versus the ones
Monica. Right.
Gothel said something along the lines of, they were in darkness, which is telling Anastasia who the
cloaks belong to.
I
don't remember the exact word.
About the goodness or not so much goodness fill them. And is that darkness, how much of that is perception versus our perception?
That's true.
About darkness simply as who they are, or maybe they're in darkness as far as redemption arc, or maybe they don't remember their redemption arc.
I don't know.
It really opens up.
I kind of hope we're done with redemption arcs for now, to be honest with you.
Like,
But
you're evil, you're evil.
that pretty much brings the mid-season finale to a close. So
Boo.
boo that you didn't like the episode, or boo that we're gonna be on hiatus for a while?
Boo that we're going to be on hiatus for a while, and I haven't seen you guys that often lately, and I'm going to miss you for 3 months.
Yeah, we finally get you back, and now we won't be. Maybe we'll get an episode in between now and then if they get some
More news,
different things like that. Little gossip party going on or something. But in the meantime, we do have finally some questions that were asked or answered rather. Where did the new curse come from? Apparently, Priscilla created it more or less with Gothel. But apparently it took Regina to actually cast the curse. As far as where Tremaine, what passed through Tremaine / Rapunzel and Second Hook share, I don't think we'll ever actually get into that. I think it was just kind of a thing that they threw out there that just they never really intended to follow up on. Who is Second Hook's daughter? We know is Alice. And what is her deal? Don't really know still. I mean, we never really found out about the whole meds thing and how she was able to kind of almost remember and different stuff like that. Again, I feel like that's something that they kind of threw out there and probably will never touch upon again. You know, we've already moved on past that.
yeah.
They tend to throw stuff out there and see what sticks, and if it doesn't, they just move on.
And
now,
they do have a history of anyone with mental illness is a little more clued into what's really going on.
right? Like maybe with the like the Mad Hatter, where he necessarily wasn't able to totally be under the curse because he wasn't all there to begin with. So yeah, I could see that. That's a very good, very astute observation there, Monica. But we are left with some new questions going into the second half of the season. We, like I mentioned earlier in the breakdown, now we see that there's some sort of relationship, not relationship, but there's some sort of bond there between Alice and Rumple. And Rumple has done something for Alice that has led to whatever happened to him. So it's really, I'm really interested to see. I hope that's not a ball that they drop. And I feel it's the ball that they can't drop because it's a little too heavy of a plot point there. It's not just something like, oh, Tremaine and Hook gave each other a weird look. You know what I'm saying? That's something that really needs to be addressed. And really, I mean, okay, we found out who the Guardian is, and I think really that's the biggest question going forward is who are all these witches that are going to assemble to become the Coven of Eight, and what is going on with Rumple? Why is he Rumple again before they are transported to this new land without magic? And then, of course, the big question of what will they have to do. I feel like there's going to obviously be a third way. They're not going to kill Lucy or kill.
Oh, definitely. There's got to be a third way.
Yeah,
there's got to be a third option that they obviously just haven't thought of yet.
Exactly. And you know, and I'm sure they've thought of it as far as the writers go, hopefully. But you know, it's something that we'll find out as the season progresses. We'll be finding that out slowly March 2nd. And I see we're all yawning, and it's time to bring this.
Sorry.
You're good. I'm just messing. Excuse me. I'm tired too. It's time to bring the show to a close. But before we do so, we do have the arbitrary scale. Let's see. We're gonna go with shots of whiskey. Shots of cursed whiskey, whatever.
I thought we were gonna go
either whiskey or
Regina's blood.
What? Oh, you like Regina's blood? Drops the all right, let's vote. Who wants shots of whiskey?
I would not mind.
You actually want a shot whiskey? Okay. All right. Let's just go with drops of Regina's blood. Out of 73 drops of Regina's blood,
that's a lot of blood.
Tiny drops. Tiny.
I don't know. That's a lot.
She might have to go get a transfusion after it's all said and done with.
No kidding.
But out of 73, Tony, what do you give this week's episode?
I want to give it a 68.
Okay, that's pretty high. And obviously, you liked the episode, so let's ask you what you didn't like about the episode. What made you drop it down those few points?
Drop it down those few points. It was just a small thing, I guess, with not explaining how something happened. How did they get to,
how did you get to what? I'm sorry.
Can't hear you.
Oh no, what I was trying to say is that how did they get to I'm trying to remember crap. Well, for one,
obviously they didn't do a good job of answering it because you can't even remember what they're talking about.
It is the curse. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You're good. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. There's definitely quite a bit of that in this episode.
Yeah, it's like that. Like it was just something. It was just something that they didn't forgot what they didn't. But
Elizabeth, what do you? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony. I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just saying that other than that, thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
Other than
that, all right, that's good. I'm glad you liked the episode, Tony. Elizabeth, what do you want to give this week's episode of the 73?
I was thinking 65.
All right, right.
And I mostly like the episode. I don't know if there's really a perfect episode, but it was enjoyable. I can't think of anything that I didn't like about it. So move on to Monica.
All right. Monica, did you what's your score and why is it so?
I give it a 70.
Okay.
Nothing's perfect, but I really liked this episode.
Yeah, okay, the writer was Jane Espenson. So
that solves it.
Yeah. So I agree this was a good episode. There were definitely some things that I addressed that I was not a fan of. Did not like that they kind of slapped us in the face with that whole timeline comment. I kind of feel like it's a kind of, like a literal. I feel like it's a, like, oh, here's a little breadcrumb. Show us the timeline. You say you have one. We want to see it. None of this makes any darn sense.
That was it, by the way. The reason why I went down the timeline.
Okay, but that being said, though, I liked everything about this episode. I liked what they did with Zelina and her cursed persona. I like that they're going down more of the cursed persona road of, like, what it means, the whole we are both thing, and that, the cursed thing, your cursed life actually have, like, I like a lot of what this episode not answers and what it's showing that could be explored. And so for that reason, I will give it a 67 out of 73. So yeah, going out on a high note, as far as all four of us are concerned, apparently. But what did the world think? Do we have
the ratings were steady. Okay. It's still a 0.5.
Did you get a number actually on the, like, a 2.43 or 2?
Like no, hold on. I snapped a picture. Hold on. I was smart enough to snapshot. Okay, 2.34 million.
So it's a slight.
So it dipped in audience while steady in the demo.
Yeah, there's a slight dip because it's been sticking at around 2.4, 2.4. So it slipped down to 2.3, but like you said, it's a slight dip in audience, but still even on demo. I mean, we've talked in the past that this is Fridays, and so you're never really going to see that large of a.
It really worries me that this may be the last season. I don't know if I want it to be. I love this show. and I want to see what they can do with these new characters.
Yeah,
So
it does.
it makes me sad.
Mhm.
It does worry me. I was a bit less than enthused when this show first started, but or the season rather first started, but I definitely wanted to see where they were going, and I feel like they've finally, hit their stride, and they, have a handle on somewhere where some of these characters are going, and I actually am interested in where the story is going. So, on one hand, I definitely would not be opposed to seeing the story continue, and in fact, I would like to see where some of these new characters go. But on the other hand, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. The writing's on the wall. The ratings haven't been great since the season began. Um, I mean, they've got saving grace that ABC tends to
Favor them.
save some of its, like, Agents of Shield, Once Upon a Time. Some of its shows that aren't quite as well performing, but they have a relatively large fan base, and they're also a bit synergistic to where there's a bit more of the company brand involved with the shows themselves. So there is that saving grace. But that being said, a steady 0.5, I mean, even if it went up to a 0.6 or a 0.7, I mean,
That'd be
That would be awesome.
that'd be huge.
yeah, I don't know. It's so, I mean, if you like the show, I mean, get the word out, tell everyone if you like where the show's been going and you agree with us. I mean, let them know that, yeah, this isn't the same characters, it's not the same exact show that you fell in love with, but the writers are still there, they're still, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a tough road to hoe, and it's definitely, it's going to be down to the wire. They never announce. ABC has a tendency to never announce their shows until like the last minute, but I can't wait until March 2nd to come back. And
Me too.
I'm very excited.
but we want to hear from you guys as well. Over the break, give us a call, let us know, or drop us a line, let us know what you think about the show. Has it improved? Where can they improve? What do you think about the podcast? About all of us? The listeners who have been around since the beginning. Is there any? Uh, um, I don't want to say criticism. What's the word? What's the word for like positive?
Feedback?
Positive feedback and like when you critique something, but it's, I don't know, I know there's a word, but it's late and I can't think of it. Regardless, if you guys can think of any words you want to send our way, write us at greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. On Twitter you can find us at gfstorybrooke. Facebook is facebook.com /greetings from Storybrooke, and the voicemail is 424-274-2352. That's 424-274-2352. And in the meantime, Elizabeth, where can we find you on online?
I really only use Facebook. I got an Instagram now, and I have three. I got that in October, and I have 3 photos on it because I just don't think to use it.
You didn't
I'm
even
just
put,
always
like,
on.
Disneyland pictures?
Huh?
You didn't even put Disneyland pictures up there?
No. My life is on Facebook. If you want to know what's up with me, it's on Facebook. I haven't developed a photo in years. Like
Oh,
everything's on Facebook.
so what's your Facebook?
My name is Elizabeth Placencia. My last name is spelled P as in Paul, Lascencia. It's a fun last name.
All right, Elizabeth Placencia. That's where they can find you at Facebook. Monica,
Yeah.
where can they find you?
Twitter at Monica Sedai, Sedai.
Tony, if anyone wants to find you on the internets.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Hoops900, HOOPS 900.
Oops 900. And then, of course, you can always find me at Inevitable Hawk, HAWKE. That is my last name. I'm also on Facebook, Bobby Hawk. I'm on Instagram too. think it's Inevitable Hawk. I think it's the same. I don't remember.
You don't look very certain about that.
Yeah, I'm as certain of that as she is about her, as Liz is about her Twitter handle.
I didn't even mention it at the time.
I know, but I'm just in the past. My Instagram feed is mostly theme park pictures, so do with that what you will. And yeah, I mean, and so then of course you can always find me. Well, I guess not every week now, but come March 2nd, you'll find me here every week with my 3 co-hosts hosting Greetings from Storybrooke. So, like I said, hopefully we will in the meantime, maybe we'll shoot by with some sort of spoiler cast or whatnot when we finally get some news. But until next time, guys, greetings from Storybrooke.
I don't have
Live.
Fly, 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 piggies.